Hi, my name is Servanda Solis, and I'm one of the five education coordinators for Niños Head Start. I have been with Head Start for over 30 years, and I truly love what I do. I just a little bit on me. If you look at my introduction photo, you see another photo on the right hand side of the picture, and that actually is little me in Head Start. I've been in Head Start forever. I've been in Head Start. I was a Head Start child, and I'm so proud to say that. So, welcome, and I hope you enjoy this training. Thank you. My training today is going to be on CLASS, and that stands for Classroom Assessment Scoring System. And what this is the interactions that happen in the classroom between the children and the teachers, and teacher to teacher. So, all the interactions that are happening in your classroom. A little bit of the session descriptions, and the purpose of the session is to understand the observation tool, the instrument, and how it is used. You're going to learn what is class, how class is used in the Head Start classrooms, and how to have positive, structured interactions. So the agenda for today looks like this. First, we're going to talk about what is in the classroom, what the classroom assessment scoring system is, the class, and we're going to read a little bit or learn a little bit about the research leading to class, why we use it. In the third point is in the Head Start and class, why it is that we use class, and then we're going to review the infant and toddler class tool, and then the preschool class tool, and then we're going to look at structured interactions, things that you can do throughout the day to make it a better day for the children to learn. And then we're going to cover a little bit of things to know. Okay, now we're going to learn what is class. We're going to learn what this instrument is all about. Class is a flexible tool that focuses on the heart of great teaching. The teacher-student interactions are proven to drive learning and development. We have the infant, toddler, and pre-K class, and that helps teachers or childcare providers nurture children's early learning while responding to their needs. The class dimensions are based on developmental theory and research suggesting that interactions between children and adults are the primary way of supporting children's development and learning, and that effective engaged interactions and environments form the foundation of all learning in early childhood classrooms. So I have put together a little clip, or have a little clip from the creators of class to tell you a little bit why this is really important, why interactions really matter, what's going on in the classroom. Okay, now we're going to see the clip on why interactions matter.
We probably all can remember one teacher who really changed our lives. And when we think about that teacher, what we think about is the relationship that they had with us, how they motivated us, how they pushed us, how they supported us. And it's really those teachers and those experiences that can be life-changing.
Interactions matter.
Interactions matter.
Interactions matter.
Interactions
Matter.
Interactions matter.
Interactions matter because they engage kids. They draw children to the resources.
Interactions matter because research shows that children who are in warm, supportive environments have better improvements in academic skills as well as social skills.
We founded Teachstone to bridge the worlds of research and practice, to take those evidence-driven tools, particularly focused on interactions between kids and teachers, and get them into as many classrooms as we could.
We work with state leaders, curriculum specialists, and Head Start, as well as local teachers.
I think if you looked at all of the resources and services that Teachstone offers to the field, they really fall into these three categories: learn, measure, and improve. We want people to learn about interactions. We want them to transfer those skills into being able to measure those interactions and ultimately to improve them.
We see that when teachers change their practices in these ways that are aligned with the class, that students actually learn more.
class is the most researched tool for observing teacher-child interactions.
When I was first introduced to the class model, it was exciting because I felt like somebody had been following me for all my years of teaching and had gotten it. This is what good teaching is all about.
I look at the latest research, and this tool captures all of that. When I use this tool and meet with the teachers, I'm giving solid feedback to the teacher to make sure that the student is learning in the classroom.
The class is being adopted on such a large scale because organizations are looking for tools that can improve learning that are based in research. We work with organizations and help them unpack very complicated research that comes out of universities and apply it to the real world.
Ensuring that each observer is a reliable observer is essential to the process.
What we're going to do is start that next video and give you an opportunity to practice your note-taking. And you're going to be looking for the specific behaviors of the teachers and the students who are in the video. You're going to be noting objectively those behaviors that you're seeing.
It's objective. It's not me saying, well, maybe you should have done this. It's going down saying, this is research-based, and here's what I see.
Anytime we measure classroom interactions, the goal is really to help improve.
Effective teachers are the ingredients of learning.
Being able to quantify interactions provides a really powerful lever for change. When teachers change their practices in these ways that are aligned with the class, students actually learn more.
The class is having an impact at large organizations at the state level through QRIS systems and Head Start, but it's also having an impact at smaller organizations.
We have seen results with the kids in those classrooms.
It's like finally somebody has decided to do what we need to do.
Ultimately, everything that happens in classrooms is about interactions.
I think we all have a responsibility to ensure that every child has access to the most effective teacher possible. I hope someday it's a guarantee.
Okay, then we continue on. Okay, now I'm going to talk about a little bit about the research leading to the class. Research leading to the current version of the class tool began in 1991 as a part of the NICHD study of early childhood, child care, and youth development, which means that research was needed to see what was best to teach children. So this study examined the influence of early environments and classroom processes on the development of children from a variety of family backgrounds. Study findings clearly indicated that classroom processes impact student outcomes. Now we're going to learn about class and Head Start. Why is Head Start using this tool? Okay, Head Start requires the use of a valid and reliable research-based observational instrument. That's part of our performance standards, implemented by qualified individuals, which demonstrate reliability that assess classroom quality, including assessing multiple dimensions of teacher-child interactions that are linked to positive child development and later achievement. The expert agreed that class, after reviewing many, they reviewed the class was the instrument that best met the statutory requirements. Class is the benchmark for quality. So Head Start uses a classroom assessment scoring system, the class, observation results. Once we do the observation, the results to help improve program quality and outcomes. All of us, Niños education staff, are reliable observers and use the class tool in Head Start classrooms. We put together a tier system, and this is implemented after the class observation results are finalized, and to assist teacher to better their teaching practices, and by coaching teachers based on their needs. How is class scored and what do the scores mean? Okay, every class observation is conducted in a cycle of observing and note-taking that lasts about 15 to 20 minutes. At the end of each cycle, the certified observer reviews their notes and assigns a rating of each class dimension. Each dimension is rated on a 7-point scale, so it's only 1 to 7, which considers both frequency and quality of teacher-child interactions. This means that, in the tool, we have to take everything that's happening, and we're observing the interactions, different little indicators and behavior markers that we're looking through the dimensions to see what we see. It's either we see it or we don't see it. And then we can say, yes, I saw this. Yes, I saw this. No, I didn't see this. So the scores are based on our observations. So it's very important that we hear and see what's going on in the classroom. But scores from 1 to 2 mean that the quality of teacher-child interaction is low. Remember, we're measuring interaction, so there may be classrooms in which children are receiving ineffective interactions, such as reactive behavior management or rote instruction, or they may be classrooms in which teachers simply rarely interact with children at all. Okay, so that would give you the low scores of 1 and 2. 3 and 4 are the mid scores, and those are given when classrooms show a mixture of effective instruction in periods when interactions are either ineffective or just not occurring. So those are the mid scores, the ones in the middle. 6 or 7 means that the effective teacher-child interactions are consistently observed throughout the whole observation period. In other words, we're seeing it happen, everything that's on the list, we're checking it off, we're seeing everything, so that gives you a score of a 6 or a 7. And this is what it looks like. This is kind of what I just read, kind of in an overview. The low scores are 1, 2, like I said, and that means that 1 and 2 means that we rarely didn't see anything. All or mostly all relevant indicators in the low range are present. In other words, we're seeing the things in the low end. 3, 4, and 5 are the mid, that we see sometimes we're seeing these things, but not enough to give it a high score. But it kind of measures it either a 3, 4, or 5, kind of in the middle. And the high scores, of course, are the 6 and the 7. And this one gives you the score of the highest that you can get, which would be a 7. And this is actually a picture of our observation instrument that we take with us when we go. It's just the page with all the, depending who you're observing, the dimensions here on the side, and the little indicators and behavior markers. You can barely see them, but I know you might have gotten a copy of it, and it kind of helps us with our note taking. We write everything in every single little square. This is the preschool observation instrument, and you have to write everything you see within those 20 minutes. And then you take about a 10-minute kind of a little time away from the classroom to kind of what is called coding, and you review all your notes and all what you saw, and then you give it a score, and from 1 to 7. Okay, so then you go back again to the classroom for another 20 minutes, and you do the same thing. You observe whatever's happening at the moment. You write down all your notes, and you give it a score, right? So you end up with 2 scores. So that leads us to our next slide, that you're gonna put it all together to give each teacher a score. We go to the back of our form, and as you can see here, all these little, what it means on these little lines is that depending how many segments you did, and remember I said that we did 2, so we'll end up showing the first 2. You've got to add up those numbers right here, and then instead of, depending what tool you're using, like the preschool has 10 dimensions that we look at, but since we're looking at domains, you're going to end up with 3 scores, three areas, and you get 3 scores. The infants, the babies, only have 1 domain, so you end up with 1 score, with 1 little block. And the toddler tool has only 8 areas, so you end up with 2 domains, so you end up with 2 squares. And the preschool has 3 domains, so you end up with 3 scores. You don't end up with a score of each and every dimension, but you do end up with each domain score. So you end up with 3, so this is what it looks like. Your scores will be on the little blocks, and that is the score that you'll be getting for that time, for that observation segment. Okay, the first tool that we're going to look at is the infant and toddler tool. Although EHS is not mandated to use the class tool, like preschool, the preschool class is mandated for us to use, and that's the one they use to come and review our program with. With early, they'll come and do a review for our program, but not using this tool because this is not this is not a tool that has been that we have to use. But a research-based observation tool is required. So niños, since we were already using the one for preschool, and we like the reliability of it and what it does, it's the best tool for learning. Head Start decided to use the class with early Head Start as well, because we were already using it in early Head Start, and mostly because it allows for professional development and teacher growth. The teacher can see what areas they're lacking in, and you can help them and guide them so they can do better, to better themselves as teachers and to do some professional growth. Okay, remember I told you about domains and dimensions? Okay, this is the tool for infant, and they do have one domain, and it's called responsive caregiving. And within it, we look at 3 dimensions that are the first one is called relational climate, and then facilitated exploration and early language support. And the relational climate reflects the connections, emotions, and respect conveyed by teachers, as well as the infant's response to these interactions. So we have in the area of relational climate little indicators and behavioral markers that we look at, and that'll be those, this checks to see how they're reflect how they're emotionally involving the children, if they're smiling at them, if they're playing with them, being part of what they're doing, and making them feel as part of the classroom. So that is one area. Then facilitated exploration considers teachers' facilitation of experiences and interactions in routine, care, and play to support children's engagement and development. This is what do you do to engage the child, to be part of the little toys you have, the materials you're using, and things like that. And early language support captures the amount and effectiveness of teachers' use of language stimulation and language facilitation techniques to encourage children's early language development. And of course, like I said, we have little indicators and little behavioral markers that tell us what it is that we should be looking at. But what we're observing, what we're trying to see is how they're supporting their early language. Are they talking to them? How much are they talking to them? What are they saying? Are they checking to see if the babies are responding to them? So all that makes up this tool for the infants. And then the next one, this is the toddler one. This toddler one has 2 domains: the emotional and behavioral support and the engaged support for learning. And the dimensions, like I said, we have more because they're a little bit bigger and they are going to be doing more. So for the emotional and behavioral support, we have 5 dimensions. Okay, we're gonna see 5, which is positive climate, negative climate, teacher sensitivity, regard for students' perspective, and behavioral guidance. And under the engage and support learning, we have facilitation of learning development, quality of feedback, and language modeling. Okay, and what it means is that under positive climate, the connection between the teacher and the children, and the warm respect and enjoyable communication by verbal and nonverbal interactions. Okay, what are they saying to the children? How are they talking to them? What kind of how is their voice? What are they saying to them to encourage them to talk and to interact and to be talking to each other? All that is part of this positive climate. And the negative climate expresses negativity in the classroom. The frequency, quality, and intensity of teacher and child negativity are the key to this scale. In other words, we're trying not to be negative. You're going to use positive things. If you catch any negativity, then that is recorded as something that shouldn't be happening in the classroom. Anytime you use negative climate is to say that you don't have negativity in your classroom. So for that reason, this one and only this one, you want to get a 1. A 1 means that there is no negative climate in your classroom. So this one is the only one. Everything else you want a 7, but for negative climate, you always want a 1. Teacher sensitivity, it measures how warm, respectful, the tone of your voice, what you're saying to them, being positive, smiling, especially at this age. They need a lot of encouragement, a lot of, repetition. Yeah, oh, that's great. That's awesome. How sensitive are you to them? Like, oh, did they get hurt? Are you okay? Things like that. The extent to which the teacher is available as a secure basis, being there to comfort them, to they're gonna have a lot of falls at this age. They do a lot of they have a lot of little boo-boos because they fall. They're learning how to walk, they're learning how to run, they're learning so are you there to support? How sensitive are you to them? Regard for children's perspectives as teachers' interactions with children and classroom activities emphasizes children's interests, motivations, and points of view, and encouraging children's responsibility and independence. In other words, you're trying to see what they're doing, what they're capable of, and go on of what they're doing. Oh, I like the way you're doing that. That is so neat. Do it again and do it again. And things that you want them to do, or things that they already want you to do. Like they're already like, look, teacher, and oh, let's do it like this little boy, and things that they're gonna give them to feed the child the feeling of, oh, what I said is important, or the teacher really cares about what I'm saying, and giving them the little leadway to lead, to be able to do things for themselves and be more independent. The last one for this one is called behavioral guidance. In its teacher's ability to promote behavioral self-regulation in children by using proactive approaches supporting positive behavior and guiding and minimizing problem behavior. In other words, things to do to promote, use positive language, doing positive rules, reminding them over and over and over of the rules, of everything that they need to do, that it's positive. So this is the emotional and behavioral support of the toddler tool. The next one is called engaged support for learning. This is the second domain of the toddler tool, which is facilitation of learning and development. This dimension considers how well the teacher facilitates activities to support children's learning and development opportunities, how the teacher connects and integrates learning into activities and tasks. Having a little, hands-on things for them to do, a lot of little creative activities, something that's not so hard for them, a lot of things to them to choose from, showing them what it is, how to do it, to be part of what they're learning, what it is you have for them to learn. The next one is called quality of feedback. Provides the feedback in responding to what children say and what they do, that promotes learning and understanding and expands children's participation. And you do things like, and what else? And tell me what you're doing, and what else would you do? And what else? Show me more. Things like that. You're gonna, however you respond is gonna measure the quality of what you say to them, to keep wanting to learn, to keep wanting to do what they need to do. And in language modeling, as dimension captures the quality and amount of the teacher use of language stimulation and language facilitation techniques to encourage children language development. Remember that at this age they're learning a lot. So anything that you do, they're little tape recorders. They're gonna catch everything you're saying. So you gotta use a lot of language structure, a lot of sentences, a lot of talking. Some are learning 1 word, 2 words, and you teach them how to put it together. And they say water. So, oh, you want some water? Just to complete anything language, teaching them new language, new vocabulary words, new for them to be learning of language and exploring everything there is for them to say, new names for new things, and most of our children are bilingual learners. They come in with one language and they're learning another. So we got to make sure that we introduce them to all those different new words. Okay, we're going to start the pre-K class. The pre-K class is the one that, remember, I had talked about that this is something that's required by our federal government. And when we do have reviews, this is the tool that they use. So, yes, we've been doing this class preschool since 1991, a long time. So I'm gonna review the different domains that we have, like we had with the infant and with the toddler. There are different domains, and this one has 3. It's got the emotional support, the classroom organization, and the instructional support. So now we're going to watch a little clip from the creators of class, and they're going to show you why they feel, or why Head Start felt, that it was the best instrument to use to observe our Head Start classrooms. Now we will hear that's a little clip from the creators of class and what they have to say about this great tool.
Economic research makes it hard to deny that investment in early childhood development is the smartest strategy that we can make. There's really no more fertile period of time for investing in human capacity.
We're having a national debate right now about effective teaching. We're focusing in ways that we never have before on the importance of the teacher that is in the classroom with the children. What we're learning is that there are elements of what teachers know that are important, but it's far more important what teachers do with children in those classrooms.
That is delicious. Okay, I want that.
Okay.
All right. Make that now, don't forget.
Dozens of studies now from all across the country converge really on the finding that it is the qualities and nature of interactions between the adults and children that are responsible for the learning and development of those kids. There are a lot of ways to define quality. Our way of measuring quality involves observing the interactions that occur between teachers and kids in those settings. We use the classroom assessment scoring system to do that. We've been able to show in almost thousands of classrooms across the country that indeed when one uses a standardized, reliable way of looking at interactions, that what we're looking at is predicting children's learning and development. When we look at the interactions that adults have with kids, we generally think of them in terms of how emotionally supportive is the adult toward the children, how much does the adult organize the child's activity and attention and time in the classroom, and what is the adult doing to foster cognitive development and stimulate language and conversation with the children. On the emotional side of things, we're looking for how warm those interactions are. Does the teacher genuinely enjoy the child, and is there some reciprocity in that enjoyment?
Oh, Fidelis said we have to cheer for him, so we gotta say, go Fidelis, go Fidelis, go Fidelis, you can do it, go Fidelis, oh, you did it.
A child should feel that they are supported in their growth of self-esteem, in their use of curiosity and persistence and resilience, all the types of lifelong management skills that we want every individual to have find their seeds in these very young years.
Can you help me make it like this, Master? Okay, first, go a line here, and then point here, and then make the ears. Help me, I can't. Here, that's how you do it. That's too funny. Sorry.
We also pay a lot of attention to how teachers manage time and manage behavior and activities. So we like to see teachers structure learning environments in ways, or learning activities in ways that allows kids to move and allows kids to make noise and allows them to really kind of express themselves individually. But I think one of the more important elements that we see of interaction are the ways in which adults provide ways that stretch the children's thinking.
Number 10.
Is 10 on the top, or should 10 be on the bottom?
Bottom.
Okay, and then what comes before 10?
7.
What's this one?
9.
So 10.
The child might be fiddling with a puzzle or trying to learn a new word, and the teacher wouldn't give them the answer, but would just come in and try to offer some hints that would help the child perform the task at a little bit higher level, hopefully have an experience of success, and then celebrate that success together.
Would you be able to show 0?
No, 0.
You don't have to show 0. Why? 0 is how many? How many is 0? Nothing. Excellent. Good job, Jack. You know your numbers really, really well.
The ability to actually measure, assess, and then support effective interactions in a classroom has given us a great opportunity.
We're opening up a field of understanding, measuring, and improving the quality and effectiveness of teachers' interactions with kids that I think has enormous promise. I think it actually has the potential to move education forward.
Okay, now we're gonna go to review the preschool class, and it starts with emotional support. Emotional support is a positive. It has positive climate, negative climate, teacher sensitivity in regard for children's perspective. And if you remember, that is those are exactly the ones for the first one for toddler class. But and this one is a little bit more because a little bit older. So emotional support assesses the degree of which teachers establish and promote a positive climate in their classrooms through their everyday interactions. Classrooms that score well in this domain have teachers that are responsive to children, acknowledge children's feelings or emotions, and help children resolve problems, redirect challenge behaviors, and support positive peer relationships. Observations provide evidence that teachers and children support and respect one another. Teachers are aware and respond to children's academic and emotional needs and constantly provide comfort and reassurance and encouragement. There is an emphasis on child's interest, motivation, and points of view. So, it's about having helping with the children's emotional support, grow their self-esteem, and show them and help them reach that goal where they feel good about themselves. Class, Classroom organization is the second domain of class. It's behavior management, productivity, and instructional learning formats. And in classroom organization, it assesses children's routine and procedure related to the organization and management of children's behavior, time, and attention in the classroom. High-scoring classrooms feature consistent schedules, well-designed learning centers, established routines, and sensitive and appropriate guidance strategies. Staff works together as a team. Classrooms with these characteristics give children a sense of stability and predictability that supports exploring, thinking about, and learning new things. The third of the domains of preschool class, is instructional support, and it has concept development, qualitative feedback, and language modeling, almost like the toddler tool, if you remember. It had some of these, but this one, in this instructional support, it assesses the way in which teachers implement the curriculum to effectively promote cognitive and language development. This domain measures how teachers support and extend children's thinking, problem solving, and conventional skills and vocabulary. Effective teachers support children's engagement and making concept skills relevant to their everyday lives by asking them questions that encourage children to analyze and reason, providing the right amount of help, and offering feedback that acknowledges children's attempts. Okay, like I said, we're going to go through some structured interactions. They're just the things that you can do throughout your day to help you kind of know what to say to children, how to say it at different times. And there's different times in the day you can have powerful interactions with children. As a matter of fact, it can be every single minute of the day. But this little guide will help you just to say, oh, I can say this or I can do this. So we're going to go through through breakfast. Toothbrushing. We don't do toothbrushing anymore, but in case we can share with parents what we can do during toothbrushing. Choice time, cleanup time, circle time, small group time, and toiling and transition time. First, we're going to look at this one, which is during breakfast time. And it kind of divides it like, what can you do at the beginning, the middle, and the end? I'm not going to read all of them, but, let's say for breakfast time, like teacher could remind children of breakfast manners and ask why questions to facilitate conversation and assess children's understanding of recall of procedures. Like, for example, why is it good for us to eat breakfast? Like, why do you think we eat breakfast, right? And see what they say about that. I wonder what would happen if we didn't have a cook to fix us this nice meal. What would happen? Or I wonder how milk is made. Just things. You'd be surprised what things they come up with because they do. A lot of times they don't know. We assume they know because, we all know, but sometimes, I've had somebody once tell me, the man at HEB makes the milk. That's what he told me. But hey, that's what their thought is and, how they experience the world and what they think. So we have to let them, make that correction for them and tell them what it is. But just different things like throughout the day, like let's say the beginning of toothbrushing, let's say they're at home, you have to facilitate toothbrushing by asking students, I wonder what would happen if I didn't have a brush, if we didn't have to brush our teeth. Maybe we're not going to be toothbrushing this time, during this time, but hey, tell parents, hey, ask them these kind of questions because it's good for them to think about what would happen. Okay, and then we have the choice time when we choose to go. Before children are allowed to choose their area of play, teachers should take the time to introduce every new item or activity that have been placed in a particular center. Teachers can do this at a closing or of circle time, asking children about prior knowledge of items and activities. For example, I wonder what this might be used for. I wonder how this works, right? Because we've noticed, we do a lot of observation in classrooms. That's what we do. A lot of times, the teacher sends a child to go play, and a lot of things, they don't play with them because they don't know how to use them or what the purpose is. It's like us, as adults, we sometimes play games or go into a nap or something, and if like we don't know what it is, then we're not interested. But if they explain to us, look, this is this and this is that, and this is something new, and you want to try it. So it's important. I always tell teachers, introduce, if you see that, like I say, in the science area, kids are not really wanting to go in there, but if you put things there that they can play with, that they can experiment with, but you need to show it to them, to introduce it to them, to show them what it is that you do with it, then they get interested. Any little thing that you have there that it's not being used, then you gotta introduce it again. So you might want to just kind of look through this page whenever you have a chance and kind of say, okay, well, yeah, I can do this, or this would be, something good for that I can work with the children. Okay, in cleanup time, a lot of times, what do I say? I don't know what to say. Teachers notice a particularly messy center, so teachers say, I wonder why we should pick up some of these toys we aren't using. I wonder why we do it. How could someone get hurt by all the things that being out? Instead of just telling them, pick it up, or clean up or whatever. Ask them these kind of questions because, they need to know the why. Why do we do it? Is it because I just want to make you do it? There's a purpose. There's a reason. You can get hurt. Something can happen. You should always give them a 5-minute warning that cleanup will begin. And that goes in the area of teacher sensitivity because, to them, it's tragic. They're going to have to stop playing because they don't want to. So I know you all enjoy yourself, but we have 5 more minutes. We're going to 5 more minutes and we're going to start cleaning up. So kind of get your mindset and ready. That's it. Like for them as well to say, okay, well, I know that I'm going to have to pick up, because if we tell them pick up, they don't have that time to kind of think about it and know that it's time to stop. Okay, so you just look through this little pamphlet that I gave you, this little information, and you'll see when you have more time to kind of read it and kind of see through. During small group, always ask how and why questions of children. Like, for example, I am just wondering, why do we all have all these materials in the middle of the table? Why do you think we have those? To have them kind of wonder. Or I am wondering how you're planning to use these materials. Look at these materials. What do you think we're going to do to them? What do you see there? Tell me what you see here and what they might be used for. You have to pause and listen to the responses. A lot of times, they have a lot of answers and you have to wonder yourself, like, why are they asking, why are they saying that, and kind of find a thing that kind of ties it in your head and then explain it to them. Sometimes they say the silliest things and you say, why did they say that? You got to kind of really think about it, because sometimes their understanding of it is different and you go, oh, I understand that, I know why they're saying that. So we got to make that clear to them, to kind of teach them what it is. Sometimes they think they heard something, but it's something else in their mind. Okay, so be vigilant of that. Listen to what they're saying and or maybe that's not exactly what they meant to say, but they don't have the words to say it yet. Adult language support will be evident to support thinking opportunities for the children. Children must be able to have choices of how to engage with the material as the adult supports scaffolding, thinking, and create problem solving through their individual approach of how they learn. It's very important because scaffolding is that you build up. Like, let's say a child tells you, I want to play. Oh, you want to play? You want to play what? What do you think you need to play? You just build it up so they can think about it, to kind of build on what they're trying to say and what they're thinking. Okay, we have transition and toileting. Whether children are diaper changing, potty training, or taking a bathroom break, the teacher needs to warn them prior to the time. Unless you're in a situation where preschools can go on demand, remember always to have active supervision. Teachers need to assure children toys or work are still. Teachers need to assure children their toys or work will still be there. Oh, need to assure the children that their toys will always still be there when they come back, when at a time approach is taken. Always remind them. And what that means is that you tell them, oh, it's okay. You go. When you come back, you are able to return to where you're at. Their fear might be that, hey, I'm going to go to the bathroom and I really want to play, but assure them that it's okay. When you come back, your spot is there for you. So that's very important. One of the last things is to end of transition and toileting. Teachers should make sure hand washing takes place at every age, especially in these times that we're living now. Hand washing is very, very important. Asking older students, I wonder what would happen if we didn't wash our hands. They understand a lot about COVID, the older ones, or they have a feeling. And sometimes we have to just subside those fears and tell them, hey, this is happening to all of us, but we need to make sure that we're responsible. We wash our hands and we're keeping our hands washed, because it's very scary. It's scary for us as adults that we don't understand it, but make it as simple as understanding to them so they can understand it. And this is the times that we live in now, and we have to keep reminding them and have them talk to them about it while they're doing it, and they can understand it. I think, like I said, I didn't read them all because you were given a little packet, and review it because it gives you a lot of good examples to use in the classroom. Whether either you're going to be with early or with regular, no matter what your position is, you can use those kind of words even at home with your own kids. You can have that kind of conversations with them, and it's very, very good for them to think about and know what it is, and they're using their thinking process. Okay, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about things that you should know, because things that you can know that are a little bit just for FYI, for your information. It says, while effective interactions are critical and form the foundation of children's children's success, they are only one piece of the effective early childhood progress. Class does not measure other important components of high quality teaching and learning, such as curriculum use, the process of the ongoing assessment of child progress, and individual teaching. I know you're going to have training on curriculum, on school readiness, on other things, the fidelity of the curriculum, other things that are going to be taken into consideration. It's only not just class. It's other things that you're doing in the assessment of the children, how well the children are doing in the assessments. And class does not measure things like that, but it's good to know that this is good, really good. This tool is really good for interactions, but other things are taken into consideration to put you on that. Remember that tier that we talked about, the tier system that I talked about in the beginning. Depending on how the scores are for the teachers, they're going to be placed on a tier. So depending how you do in all these areas will determine at the end how many times you will visit it in your classroom. The more you get visited, it's that you need a little bit more help, especially if you're a new teacher. You're obviously going to need more help, more assistance, somebody to come and guide you. And we're going to do that. And other times, the older teachers that have been there for a while, they've got class master. They don't need as much help. Maybe they need help in other areas, but depending on how you score, how you do, then that's how we are going to figure out how many times we will visit you or will be coaching you. Okay, and there are two circumstances under which a grantee, Niños is a grantee of Head Start. We get funded by the federal government. And remember I told you class is the tool that is required to be used for preschool. If for some reason the grantee with the average class scores below the established minimum score, if any of the three class domains will be lower, will be required to compete. In other words, what that means is that Head Start has a federal review with class, and they come and observe the classrooms. And as a program, we end up with a one score lower than the minimum average, then our program will be put up for recompetition. But the minimum score, that's the baseline score that we use to start off to guide ourselves where we are that when we go visit classrooms. So we already have kind of like a score that you have to be higher than, so that we can work toward making it better in your classroom. Okay, so I think that is it. Do you have a little post test or just little questions to think about? Okay, do you know what class is now? Is it something that you didn't know before that you know now? The second question is, how does Head Start use class? Remember what we talked about? Do you remember the different things that I told you about? How does Head Start use class? Now think about that. And the third question is, true and false, class measures child-staff interactions. Is that true or is that false? Think about that, okay? And finally, any questions, comments, you can contact me as armanda.solis@niñosinc.org or Microsoft Teams. I know once you're going to be placed at a center, you can contact can be made through Niño's email, and you can join the team chat room. So where you want to chat with me, you can chat with my team. I have a team of 2 mentors, one for early, one for regular. As right now, I'm gonna be getting another one for early, but Manuel Martinez is my coach mentor for regular. Griselda Savedo is my mentor for early. So anything that we can help you with, any questions you might have on class, on any other thing, we all are, like I said, class reliable. We are able to visit the centers, and we are reliable through the Teachstone that every year we have to recertify to be able to do these observations. And it's a lengthy procedure. We have to see some videos, like if we're actually watching classrooms, and we score them, and then we have to match our scores with their scores. And that's the way we get certified. If we pass, then we're able to do it. Go observe the classrooms. If not, well, then we have 2 other chances. But luckily, we've been doing really good, and we all of us that work in education are reliable to do observations in class. So good luck. Thank you so much, and we're here to help you. Anything that we can do, we're here to work as a team. Thank you. Once again, thank you. And remember, just if you have questions or comments, look me up. And I leave you with this quote: a great teacher takes a hand, opens a mind, and touches a heart. Hope to see you all around. Good luck, and goodbye for now. Thank you.